Yeah. 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 Memories. Memories. Yeah. Memories. Memories.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through. It's just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Adelaide immediately comes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.
Thank you everyone for joining us here today, and welcome here to the mid-season tournament at last. After 4 weeks of regular play, We are here, and today we have the Console EU Open tier ready to go. 8 teams vying for that extra point and that slot as mid-season champion. I am Hunter Tane, joined today by Twin Salty. We have a heck of a day in front of us. Not just a heck of a day, a heck of a mid-season tournament. I kind of brought to you a little bit about how stacked these teams are going into today. Not just today, the entire 8 teams we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be a really exciting time.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time here around CGL. Seeing, obviously, we're here for the console tournament, but a lot of mid-season tournaments going on right now. There's going to be games going on all week. Make sure you check out this channel, the other CGL channels as well. There's going to be games going on non-stop with the best of the best CGL has to offer. But for this one, it's AFMT versus Meow. Meow, definite underdogs in this one. But I gotta say, AFMT, they're looking pretty good. We can take a look at the standings for each of these groups. Meow from Group 2, AFMT for Group 1. You see AFMT are sitting right up top on the Group 1.
Yep, only have dropped 2 maps. Those 2 maps were to Smeltman Industries, who doing really good in their own right. Will have their own match against MME Overwatch going around about the same time. Not a stream I know for that, but it'll still be an exciting one. And if we get the updates, we 100% will give them to you. But it's still, as you said, an underdog story here for Meow, who barely managed to qualify just by 1 map over EMC Chimera. So it's definitely an uphill battle for them, but this is kind of one of those situations where you don't really have a lot to lose. This is a perfect team to test your mettle against, who, by all means, is a top 2, top 3 team from everything we have seen so far. So there's definitely a big opportunity for them to kind of show what they could do here today, and honestly, not have too much on the line as much as AFMT does, being the undefeated team.
Yeah, there's nothing for Meow to lose here. Like, if you have a good showing but you don't win, it's just for a little bit of extra bragging rights. It's for that extra point. But it's not like it's the end of your season. You still have the second half to go for the rest of it. And as we look at the bracket, it's not like it gets any easier if they do win this. They will face the winner of MME Overwatch versus Smelvin. We were just talking about Smelvin. And MME is one of the standouts. They've been around for a while. They're not a team you want to play once it comes to bracket time because they know how to get it done.
Yeah, 100%. The bottom side of that bracket is unbelievably stacked. Whoever gets out of that has a really good shot of going to that grand finals as the favorite. Of course, nothing against the teams up top there. This should be a good match between EMC, Orpheus, and Power World as well as Oblivion in some squads. So we'll be able to keep you updated on that. But for today, with AFMT and Meow, as we kind of are alluding to, there is this underdog story, and I'm still looking forward to seeing a lot come through, not just from Meow, but in a weird sense, dominance from AFMT, because they do have more on the line here. They need to come in and put up a good showing, especially when they have to run into either Smelvin or MME. But, you know, we can talk about them all day, but the ones I really want to talk about are our underdogs. So let's go ahead and take a look at their starting roster for today. And just looking at this right now, we see Foes and Fat Dad over on the DPS, Slayer rocking the tank, and Karma and Cubes over on the support line. And as we already talked about, they've done a decent job this season. They have made it to this point. You can't really knock them for doing so. And with this kind of lineup we have, it should be in for potentially a tough game for AFMT if the cards line up correctly.
I do think where the meta is right now does help Meow. There's a lot of different looks that you can run. They've been pretty open about the fact they do not like Rush. They do not like playing it. So more than likely we're going to see a dive, whether it be, you know, Winston, Diva. We've seen a little bit of Doomfist out there as well. I want to see the variations that they want to bring throughout the day to maybe catch AFMT off their guard a little bit. And talking about them, like we said already, 4-0. They've had a great season so far, and this lineup is always able to kind of shift it up because they can run the dive, they can run the rush, and I'm curious which one they end up starting with here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a debate as well, because we'll get into that first map here in a moment, but I'm really looking forward to see that 1v1 between Akaza and Foes, who are both currently rocking that Tracer, and Tracer is, I will say in my own opinion, probably the most dominant character currently in this meta. You will see them in basically every kind of meta. It doesn't matter if it's the dive or the brawl or the rush, you're going to see that Tracer because it's just not smart to go without it. So I imagine we'll see that 1v1 a lot here today. And with our starting map, there's a good potential we're going to be seeing it for all 3 Twin Salted, because we're going to be starting out on Busan, which is a map that is more open than a lot of the other control maps. When we go to the place like downtown, where there are these high grounds you work around, a lot of different areas to kind of discover. We should see that kind of poke style in that kind of dive style as well definitely come out here.
Yeah, especially in downtown, especially on Sanctuary. The Tracer can run rampant, and even in Mecha Base to a certain extent. It's a little bit more closed off, but there are definitely some corners where they can hide and use, and the high ground's also a nice little bit of action up there for her. And then obviously it is loser pick from there on out with Hybrid, then Flashpoint, then Push, and so on. But as we get ready to go, it will be Mecha Base for our first round. So this is the one I still think we're going to see the Tracer. It may not be as potent as it would be on the other two sub-maps, but I think what these teams tease right away is a big stance for where they want to go the rest of the series, and so far, it's actually dive for both sides.
Yeah, for Meow, not too much of a shocker here. We have seen that Diva, that Moira come out quite a bit. I imagine Celestia is going to be running that Lucio on top of that, and honestly, I could see Meow keeping that composition for a while, but AFMT very much coming back down to position. You see that Junker Queen rush style composition coming out. So the most important thing is that AFMT needs to be the quicker team. They need to set up in these corners where they can just come around the corner and just delete somebody instantaneously. And Player is got to be really big on the peels for that.
Yeah, we're going to need to see the peel be extremely good for Meow if they want to try and survive the onslaught. Dinks does go over to the Ram last second, so not as much bleed damage coming through, but still a force to be reckoned with in the front line.
Yeah, gonna have a pretty good amount of sustainability, especially if they do manage to end up on their own, which is a possibility with this kind of comp we're seeing, as right now just getting drilled into, just trying to take a lot of attention away, and it's forcing Meow back inside for the time being. So AFMT looking like they should be able to unlock that point first, as they're going to rotate around and try to take the fight over there, take some attention. The point is not going to lock in. We see that 1v1 already taking place, but the recall going to take them out of range. AFMT going to start with the point, but this fight not nearly over, as we do see the trade out come through there, but losing John is honestly going to really hurt them, going to be able to try to get out of this situation. And with Karma going down, they're just going to be held up in this corridor, and unfortunately it's looking like they might have to die slowly but surely.
Yeah, this will eventually go AFMT's way. Maybe a little more scrappy than they were wanting it to, especially losing their Lucio. But like I said, they just corralled everybody in that lower stairwell, and they're able to dink him down from there. Akaza already has the Pulse Bomb online.
Wow.
And Dinks will go over to the JQ. They will just give up on the Ram. And I honestly like this pick. The Ram wasn't going to get a whole lot done, especially with the Echo Tracer. There's no real DPS you can hunt down, and Karma can just TP away anyways.
Yeah, I think it was good for that initial thing of taking away a bunch of space, but speaking of space, Dinks might be a little too far up in their own right again, getting super low, but Ricky already there to help take care of him, just gonna hide away in the pocket for the time being until they have that shot ready to go. Pulse comes out, not gonna get anybody, but that's a nice trade-out. Both trades just gonna be out of the fight. Now Slayer hoping to go in and clean up the support line, manages to help get rid of one of them, but here comes that investment from NRG, hoping to clean things up here, barely missing out on the headshot. As Slayer gets off the point, which there was potential that they potentially could have capped that, and now Slayer's gonna be lucky just to get back in mech, as this fight is going on for a very long time, which is honestly way better for AFMT.
Oh, it's incredible for AFMT. Meow's gonna commit the Kitsune Rush to try and finish off this fight, and will be the Coalescence answered back, but this point it's not yet flipped.
Yeah, and I can't see it flipping either unless it's just a complete jump off that point. Slayer is going to have going down, but Celestia is going to go with the investment. Unfortunately, not going to pay off. That Coalescence going to result in nothing. Slayer, the last one on the point, and now it's just down to foes to go for the touch, but even so, this is going to be a really tough situation to come back from.
Oh, and they're going to hunt down Karma in the back. They're not going to be able to let the Kiriko go in, and everybody else is in spawn. First round, all AFMT.
Yeah, they did such a great job of controlling the space. Meow had the right idea with trying to go around and try to catch them on the far side instead. And initially, it did work. Just, this is a comp that while you can set up dives, you also can't split too heavily apart because AFMT is running the Junker Queen. If you are caught out, straightforward, you are going to die against a team like AFMT, who is that good at the Junker Queen composition. So I want to see Meow play a little bit more tight, at least when it comes to their support lineup. Make sure they can play with each other, kind of like we look back at the Brink Ana composition. Karma and Celestia just have to be there for each other a little bit more, but the style looks like it's going to be changing up with the Mercy coming in. I imagine they're just going to put the Mercy onto Fat Dad and just try to go all in on the attack.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking. Yeah, they won't swap. They almost teased it on Mecha Base and then ended up switching it around. But this time, yeah, will be Celestia sticking with Fat Dad, and Karma still at spawn actually for a minute, so it might be a temporary 4v5.
Yeah, that's a situation. Either way, still, it's, well, I can't really say it's even up right now, as Karma literally is in the spawn right now. They're gonna save Slayer the thing of getting staggered, and instead gonna hit the reset as Karma, I don't know. Perhaps a little AFK, perhaps something happened, but regardless, AFMT gonna start out with the point, and Akaza, again, already halfway to that pulse bomb.
Yeah, already to the pulse bomb. They're building them up at a ridiculous rate currently. Seems like Karma is back, just saw him moving around, so maybe just a slight accidental AFK there, but it does happen. These pulse bomb now from Akaza, it might try and catch Fat Dad when they're on these low bits, when, you know, they just can't get up right before their cooldown gets back up, and instead Fat Dad's going to try and hunt down the Soj, and not able to get him yet.
No, not yet, but Fat Dad is separated.
Oh, wow.
Akaza already got a 2K to the name, potentially going to make it a 3, and Slayer is going to get knocked out of mech here. Either that or they're going to take themselves off. Well, we're going to get both, actually, as they're going to go off the edge, try not to give more charge, but Akaza's got that pulse ready to go, and they're way ahead of anybody else on their team. Way ahead.
Oh, they almost catch Most, who was around in the corner, and they may still catch them. No, gonna give up on the play, but that's gonna add just a little bit of extra stress to Faust when they're on this flank.
Yeah, Faust has a horrific job in front of them in the sense of having to take on Akaza and put the pressure on. Fat Dad, though, that is a fine exchange, because if you do have that res, Fat Dad's going to help with the cleanup. And I don't know if I agree with the copy necessarily, but they want to go with the fast cleanup. They need to put bodies on that point, take it over, because AFMT is the kind of team that will fight a team doing so, but eventually we should see the death of NRG. We will, and now Dink's going to be not far behind. Now win their first fight, and end up investing a couple of ultimates to do so, and now AFMT about to come up on 4 of their own.
Yeah, I agree that maybe didn't need the ult there from Fat Dad, but I understand, like, we need to win a fight. We have yet to win a fight this entire map so far. You need to get one under your belt just for the confidence boost, but that pulse almost sticks from Akaza.
Yeah, that was super close. That could have been a devastating, potentially even a 2K. And already Karma a little separated. Celestia is just getting hunted down. Slayer trying to keep them alive. He's going to have to use the bomb just to be able to stay back in. And FMC just took over the point with pretty much no contestation. So we're entering into that situation where it could potentially be that last fight territory for Meow.
They do at least find Jat, who is in the background, maybe just being a little bit too aggressive, and they're going to push right back in.
Yep, and we do see NRG going in, trying to see if they can get somebody. They did manage to get rid of foes. Eventually should be taken out, but I guess logic does not apply to them. In a 3v2 for AFMT, Slayer is the one that's got to help bring this back, though. You see Carmage trying to stay alive, trying to out-rotate Dinks, and they come in deep, and that deepness is going to end up paying for them, as now Slayer on the point in a 2v1 just needs to survive long enough for foes and Fat Dad to be able to make it back. They're looking for that touch. Gonna send the bodies, and Fat Dad, this is where you wish you had that copy ready to go, because it's just Celestia. Nobody gonna make it back to that point. AFMT with a rather quick 2-0 to put themselves up 1-0 in the series here on Busan.
That is the performance that they needed to start with for AFMT. That is like, hey, we're the #1 seed in Group 1. We want to make sure we show it off. And yes, they lose a fight there early, and Jat, yeah, just maybe a little too aggressive trying to go on the flank, but AFMT, they love running this JQ, and whenever Meow tried to push it, it was, okay, who is the one left behind? Because there was always seemed someone, even if it was like a half second behind of the rotation, AFMT found them pretty much every single time, and Akaza with the cleanup, it was just so good.
Yeah, 100%. That's the kind of benefit that you have from the Junker Queen, and as well as the Tracer as well. You're able to hunt down these targets very quickly. Again, if you are separated, we've seen many examples already, you're going to get caught out, you're going to get sent back to the spawn room. That's what's going to happen every time. So if I'm in the situation now being Meow, I would want to try to go to a map where perhaps the rotations aren't going to be as clean. Come to a place where you can play perhaps more of a poke style, because you've seen Fat Dad doing good on the Echo. I don't know if they're good on the hit scan as well. There's the possibility, but I feel like you just want to take away that option, or at the very least, make it as inconvenient as humanly possible.
Just try and make life difficult. That's about all you can really do.
Yeah.
And it will be Noombani as the second map. So I do think I'm mixed on it, because the Echo is very good on this map. There's a lot of high ground that the Echo can play off of. But if they want to go maybe more poke style, especially on first phase, I can see it. And even like second phase, dive is very good. So if they want to try and force dive, this is probably one of the better hybrids they could have picked. I do worry a tiny bit, though, because it still plays to a degree in AFMT's hands.
I mean, yeah, 100%. Like, you could still run that Tracer. Like I said, you can run the Tracer on any map at this point. You can still run the Sojourn. If you wanted to bring out the Diva instead, that's basically the comp. That's the Diva comp right there. You can run that Tracer Sojourn with that Diva, and the support lineup kind of comes down to a bit of comfortability, you know? But it's still, I think, one of the better options they could have had. This gives Meow a good opportunity to be able to pull this one back, because after we saw over there on Busan, this is kind of where they need to do it. And I'm more or less just curious what they want to bring out on their attack, because, I mean, we've seen God knows how many games of Numbani. We know how hard it is to win that first point attack.
Yeah, and quick note, Cubes subs in now for Karma. So it will be Cubes coming in to play, presumably the flex support for Meow. So you wonder, maybe, do we see an Ana here instead? Do we maybe see a different look, whether, you know, even a BAP or an Alari if we get to that point? But my guess is probably an Ana coming into play from Cubes, which if they want to play that more long-range healer, again, the big thing is you got to make sure someone's ready to peel, because the Ana is probably one of the easiest sitting targets Meow could have for AFMT to take advantage of.
Yeah, I think realistically with that Ana, you almost have to run the break with it.
Yeah.
Like, that combo is still powerful together. I think that's 100% what they're going to do. The question is what they're going to put with it, because you can still run the Diva, you can still run the Tracer, but I'm worried about that other DPS, because the Echo is going to just get caught out. The moment that they're in a situation where they are not next to their healers or just out of sight for a second, that's going to end badly. So maybe you pull out the Sombra. Sombra has been played here and there.
Yeah.
It's still strong to a degree, so you never know, but I'm a little worried about that, because even when we see that on the attack, it's not as strong as it could be on that defense. So we have to see a certain level of aggression from the DPS that we've seen little bits and pieces of from Fat Dad and foes alike, but it really needs to step up here, because when you're looking down the face of Akaza, it's a very, very difficult road to go down. But it is doable, but they have to get themselves up on the right foot on Numbani if they're going to be able to even think about accomplishing that.
It's super intimidating. Like, we even saw it the one time Fos is trying to go on a flank, and Akaza's like, no, don't think you're going over here without paying your life for it. They do eventually flip it around with the res, but it was so hard for Fos to do much for Meow. In fact, we saw a few plays here and there, but it was nothing that I felt really got them over the line. So now they will start on the attack. AFMT, they will go to a dive look themselves, and they will also run the Ana with the Kiriko instead. Everything else will be the same, and Meow teasing the Kiriko BAP instead of the Kiriko Ana here, and no Brig in sight.
I'm a little curious about this and what they're
I
going
am
to
too.
do. But to be fair, having the Curie, it does end up pairing pretty decently, because, you know, you're going to have the anti coming through from Ricky, so that'll be very convenient. But, you know, I should just shut my mouth as a caster. Karma swap soon anyway. So the Lucio, I actually like the Lucio. I actually really like the Lucio here from Cubes. I think it could work out fantastic for them, but they do have to play it the right way, because there's a very specific way to play the Lucio in this style of composition.
No, I agree. I think it's better than the BAP Kiriko look they were teasing, but like you said, you got to make sure everyone is together when on those rotations, because especially if they're not in that speed aura, they can get left behind.
Yep, very easily so. Fight going to be able to engage right now. Going to try to just drain away Dinks for the time being, and Akaza ready for that 1v1. Going to have to be forced out for the time being. Foes, though, wants to keep bringing it. Unfortunately, the Cavalry was waiting and ready to go, and now Slayer, oh no, if they don't, okay. The bombs do manage to take them out, so they don't have to worry about the super long stagger. Perfect. Now you understand what they're playing at. Now you need to figure out, okay, where do we take this fight now that we know where these supports are sitting at?
And now they've already made a swap. They're not even going to try and run the Lucio into this. They will send Cubes over to the Ana, which is why we thought they were going to be getting subbed in for this map. You do have to play a little more smart, because, yes, you have to make sure you stay in that line of sight and protect Cubes with your life, but it does open up a little more possibility to not worry about that Lucio speeding around.
Yep, right now, looking for that perfect Andy from Cubes and from Ricky alike, who could really turn this on its head, depending. But that's going to be a really good start. Slayer going to take Dinks out of the mech and get rid of them entirely. Unfortunately, going to trade their mech to be able to do so. And down, it's really down to Akaza to kind of clean things up here for the time being. Do a fantastic job of doing so. Akaza just not getting as much pressure as you would really hope, as NRG gonna go with the copy, more or less just to clean things up, but still, Karma and Cubes were working together for a moment. Unfortunately, not going to amount to much, as they only really have to invest that copy to win the fight, but Meow coming up on 5 ults, more or less.
Yeah, more or less. I think Nano might be very late into the fight, but I definitely think they could get it. I would watch it for a Kazu, though. They're going to be lurking around. They have that Pulse Bomb online already. Even if it just draws out the Suzu, it is going to be a win for them to send in the rest of the engage, potentially putting the Nano on the Dinks. Oh! Or just that. That works.
Yeah, we can just do that. A fight? What's a fight? You don't need a fight at all. You just need a 2k Pulse Bomb. That's all we need. But the singular silver lining is you get the Pulse Bomb out. You don't have to worry about it for the next, well, 45, 60 seconds, as we see Nakaza get that up very quickly. So now have a lot to work with. I want them to be very careful not to exhaust their entire ult bank to try to win this fight, because if they use it and they don't win the fight, it is basically as good as over.
Yeah, well, there goes one. Pulse Bomb out of the way, and now Self-Destruct is online, and Dupe's already through, and Cleanse is gone for both.
Yep, and we already see that copy come out as well. The copy doesn't get anything either. That's 2 walls down. Slayer likely going to use the bomb to remake here in a moment. As Baghdad does get energy to start things out here, but immediately gets taken out by Akaza in return. So this fight still very much in a winnable position for Meow right now. We're going to go in with that investment on the Nano. Slayer, the only one with the note still remaining, as the other 4 have now been used. So if you're going to win it, this has to be the time. Dinks needs to get knocked out of this mech. Is getting low, but you do see the support coming back ready for them. Is diving in all the way to try to get this. They gotta get a body on this point. It's looking like it's gonna be Akaza to do it, as Dink is gonna throw the bomb on the point. You need to be able to kill Cubes! Oh, that's such an unfortunate situation, but Slayer making a good choice, bringing out their own mech to force them off just for a moment, and that's all they needed. And a little addition, Dinks knocked out of the mech as well.
Yeah, and they do cap, which is the only thing Meow is going to care about. It was maybe a little more stressful than they were intending it to be, especially after Cubes gets taken out by the bomb, I think maybe by like a frame. But, you know, at the end, 2.5 minutes added on, they're still pushing.
Yep, that's the important part. The Pulse gonna find nothing but air. Akaza gonna die as a result, and Cube is gonna trade, but that's fine. That's exactly what you want. You take Akaza out of that fight, and now you don't have to worry about any of the DPS. Ricky should be able to die here as well, more than likely. It's going to get a ton of support, though, from Jot. But, I mean, this is even better. These are later deaths right now, so it's literally just the stall on the point from Dinksu's. Somehow, oh, wait, I think I went to sleep. Not able to remix, so Meow getting the momentum back on their side now, and AFMT really only have that copy and that Nano to work with, as they're going to swap over to the ball instead.
Okay.
Ooh.
I respect them trying something a little different here. They almost went it on Busan, but instead they're going to run it here. I think this is more just to displace Cubes in the back and make life pretty much a living hell for them in the next 2 minutes.
Yep, 100% the right decision. It's already working out well, but due to the investment coming through, NRG getting one of their own. A very quick cleanup here. Right side is Meow. Don't end up using anything. Dinks is, well, you know what? I need you to stop talking. Slayer ends up using the mech, and I don't know if they thought, oh no. I don't know if they thought that was still winnable for some reason, or if they thought they could get somebody in a situation, but that mech is just not really working out for Slayer. They haven't been able to find much value out of it outside of the displacement they had with the first one.
Yeah, it was, good sleep, and they're just going to full send.
Yeah, literally, why not? Might as well. Cube's already super low. Gonna be taken out as well. Akaza just literally just running it down main. There is no better way to say it. As NRG gonna get knocked out of their copy pretty fast, but it's not gonna matter a whole lot. The fight's still gonna go their way. And unfortunately for Slayer, they might have an opportune setting, but they are just gonna throw themselves off the edge with a little bit of help from Dinks. And don't be tempting fate, Akaza. Wait, what are they doing?
They are what? What? They are just
Dinks.
That's I don't want to say karma, but tempting fate maybe a little too much that time for AFMT, and they're gonna have to retreat and try and keep their supports alive, but they get a trade instead.
Yeah, but that's also a big anti as well. Got the 3K, but nobody down quite yet, as the Nano's gonna get invested.
What is happening?
I don't know. All I know is Dinks is on the car, and they're trying to stall things out. If Dinks lives, there's 100% the area for a recontestment, as we are in overtime now. Meow does have that copy to work with, but we saw Akaza on these pulses. It could just take one to end this thing, but NRG gonna be dead early. Dinks still flying around, is gonna be able to grab the Mega and stay up for a little while longer. They're looking at Dinks, but they really should be looking towards Akaza, who's making the way back as the mines come out. Slayer, this is where you throw the bomb. Get the mines out of the way, force them off the point for at least a moment. Give your team the opportunity to bring themselves back into this as, again, this is final fight. It's gotta happen here. As the copy is gonna come up from Fat Dad. The bomb coming down as well. Shot's gonna be the first one to go down. I heard the sound of a stick previously, but it seems like nobody gonna go down as a result. This Cap eventually going to come through once again in overtime. A heavy investment from Meow, but again, a fight you needed to win.
A fight you needed to win desperately, and again, they're getting the staggers at the end of this Cap, and they might be able to get Dinks. Fat Dad will be able to live. Dinks will be able to get out, but a huge fight win there for Meow, and it's not like AFMT didn't commit, right? They used the mines, they used the Kitsune Rush a little bit earlier, so it was not free by any sense on the other end either. Karma, wow, they were deep in the back line, but still are able to get out.
Yep, not for the time being. Kind of have to do a mini reset here unless they somehow manage to get Dinks in this scenario. And NRG actually going to be the one to go down instead. I'm a little surprised about this as Dinks is just getting chased down. I'm starting to really dislike this ball. I like the idea of going for the displacement, but they're consistently running for their lives and not able to engage with Akaza and NRG in a lot of these dives, which Ball's is still a dive character. You still want to commit to dives on it. Unfortunately, it's not working out, and Meow, they're the team that is just continuing to gain momentum.
They are looking red hot now as they are able to get one traded back for AFMT, but at what cost? Kitsune Rush will be used by the Cardinals to try and make them go away. The sleep, though, onto foes will force the recall.
Yep, losing the last ult to their name. Gonna try to force out the copy, and they 100% will. But Slayer is gonna pay for it with their life, realistically. But that's a nice cleanse to keep them alive for a couple seconds longer. But Akaza, Turley trying to help out with the cleanup. The mines going around in the back line. Meow slowly but surely going to be pushed away, but still way further than we would have originally thought with how that first point was going. Putting it just next to that final marker. That's a pretty respectable distance, and for Meow to be able to push it that far against AFMT, who, honestly, a detriment to them, started fooling around perhaps a little too much.
Yeah, I don't know about the ball pick. It was a choice, and I think it just, like you said, maybe got a little too foolish at times. It was just, okay, they got so displaced, they got a little split up at times, and Meow this time was actually the team that was able to take advantage of that separation. But now on the defense for Meow, can you keep that momentum up? It was, yes, at the final hurdle for the first point, the final hurdle for the end of Streets. You weren't able to get it past at the very end. But like you said, it's way better than they looked on Busan. And I think they are starting to get their rhythm back. They will send foes off the Tracer and onto the Ashe, which, if it is Doomfist on the other side, that may be a little bit hard to accomplish.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't hate it because no shot to foes. You're going up against Akaza, who has been one of the best Tracers in this division.
Yeah.
They have not been able to win a lot of those 1v1s. So going on foes instead, who's going to be able to help out and take care of NRG to put a lot more pressure on Dinks on their engagements. You don't have to worry as heavily about the 1v1 with Akaza. Yes, you still have to give them a little bit of attention, but Meow running that Winston is especially going to be interesting. And Dinks is on the horse. The horse is here.
Oh, wow. The one hero I did not expect to see today was an Orisa, but I respect for them trying it. Let's see how it works out. It'll be the BAP Brig backline as well, so NRG gonna get loaded up with packs.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't entirely hate it either because you have the... I was gonna say you have a big support system, but that support system just kind of got thrown around. But Slayer playing around a little too much, getting in deep. I'm not sure where Cuban and Karma were at the time. As we see Fat Dad in the background, should also potentially meet their end, but looks like they're going to float away and survive. And this is a tough situation now because Dinks is going to be able to sustain, but that's a nice ante to push them back for a second.
And they actually get out the regenerative burst cooldown as well, because Jump maybe didn't realize that they were anti at that point. Energy, they just have no way to engage. Foes is hitting the shots.
Yeah, we see this going on. Dinks and Akaza playing in that backline energy, not knowing what's going on here. As Akaza bringing the pressure a little bit, wants to go in deep to try to get Fat Dad, gets him a little low, but nobody going down quite yet from Meow. This Ashe is working out fantastic for them right now, forcing Shot into a weird position, trying to get out. Luckily going to be able to, but here comes that pressure coming through. Things just trying to clear out the high ground. Cube's going to go down, but Foes, importantly, going to have this Bob here in a moment. As long as they don't go down, that is, it's a little bit out from their break if possible, and it's looking like they're going to get it. So now, the question is, do you go for the investment back with the Bob? Because that is a tough one if they go for it.
They will try. If Foes dies before Bob even gets to the point, it will still be Slayer on there as well. But like I said, it may be just a little bit, say something just a little too late into this fight.
Yeah.
AFMT will cap 2.5 minutes added back on. They got over 2 minutes more than Meow did on their attack.
Very true. So, the pulse misses, it looks like.
Oh.
But either way, they still have 4 more to work with. It really doesn't matter a ton here. Meow, though, do have that copy. And Fathead and Foes both been doing really good as Energy. Again, this team from AFT, they love tempting fate. And it's very 50-50 right now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to peek on my head, even though I've died a couple of times trying to peek this Ashe, and they get low again. As Fat Dad is also trying to keep an eye on them on the flank. But for Meow, who do you try and find on these dives? Like, Dinks can survive on their own. Ricky's been walking around with Jot the entire time. You need to find a mistake somewhere.
And honestly, it just kind of come down to that support line a little bit. I want to be the person who did that shot. We got to mess with them. A very angry later as Cube's going to pay the price. Gets pulled up for a second. Is going to live for the time being, though. And as AFMT are going for the double investment with that rally coming out here, this first pick is going to matter a ton, as it's going to be Foes that goes down first and foremost. Energy finds 2 of their own, but Slayer is still in the fight, ready to go. Likely going to use the bomb for the remake. But it's going to be tough. The bring is on them, and they're not going to be able to get back inside of it, unfortunately. This D.Va, unfortunately, just not having a lot of promise for the time being. But I understand why you had to get off of the Winston, as right now, you're just staggering out a couple members of Meow, and getting a touch on the second checkpoint before they cap is turning into a nigh impossibility.
Call me crazy. Do they maybe go like a Zarya here? Or something to maybe match Rush? I know they said they don't like playing Rush. Ooh. But it would be, it's difficult to run dive into this comp. It is near impossible. They will cap, and the commitments here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still important to win this fight if you can manage to do it. Energy getting a bit of pressure, but not going to let they're going to go down. And that's the detriment right now, is AFMT have pretty much realized by this point, they can just keep running it down as long as they put enough pressure, not give Meow enough time to be able to sustain themselves and kind of pull back. They're going to keep winning these fights as we Slayer over, as you said, as you predicted on that Zarya. I mean, oh, okay, Energy.
Oh.
Again, just tempting fate. Didn't work out this time.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's been 50-50. You flip a coin this time, they got tails, and it did not, were not able to survive. But they do have Bob coming up, but Slayer's just got to live here.
Yeah, again, pushing a little too far forward without a whole lot behind them. Get a lot of charge, but nearly give up your life for it. That could have been things right then and there. As right now, Dink's just getting a lot of pressure, and you got to keep adding on to that pressure as well. But more importantly, is these supports that are just completely keeping them up. And here comes that hard investment. Slayer going to get hit with that stun. Bob going to come through, going to try to help get rid of Dinks, and that's a nice antidote to be able to get things going here. Need to burn away the rest of these members. Ricky trying to stay alive. Energy going to get instantly knocked out of that copy as well. Fantastic, and this is great for Meow. That is a big investment from AFMT. 3 different ultimates, and it's not going to result in anything, at least seemingly so, as there's still a couple people kind of stuck in the backside of this battlefield.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the only person that died was Dinks. They're now back. They can re-engage here maybe a little faster than Meow anticipated. Yeah,
and Foes is going to be the one that's given this, but you got to watch out for that point. That point is 2.7 meters away from capping. It's going to be really hard for Slayer to get off of that. Here we go. The Pulse gonna catch on to them, but Karma manages to find one of their own. It is completely back and forth, but you gotta stay on that point. 0.14 meters. The slightest person getting off could end this round right then and there. And it's literally just a copy from Fat Dad trying to survive for as long as they can. Slayer trying to make it back on the ball, but unfortunately, not gonna quite make it back on. AFMT putting themselves on match point now, and Meow, a much better display on that attack. Unfortunately, I think AFT have just cracked the code now. They know what they need to be doing. It's hard to think at this point that despite them literally just swapping around to Paul and Orisa, that things are going to end any differently for them. They're just lights out for the time being.
They are playing ridiculously well right now. And the fact that, we talked about it pregame, how diverse will their lineups be? Hey, we saw it there. We saw the Ball. We saw the Orisa, which I still can't believe we saw Orisa in this meta, but hey, I respect them running it because it did throw Meow off. It took them a while to figure it out. And as soon as like, hey, okay, we're going to commit to the Zarya, right back to the ball. Makes the Zarya so hard to play in. And from there on, it was just so difficult for Meow to do anything. And that was the map I fear they needed to win. Because next map type is Flashpoint, aka Rush Frenzy.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough to pull that one back. But of course, can't say anything until we see that 3 on that scoreboard. So make sure you stay tuned. Can Meow potentially try to pull this one back? Or will AFMT secure themselves an early spot in those semifinals? We'll find out right after this break.
You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Matching Kitsunes here. Oh, you can see the meat in the middle. La la la. Yin and yang. I can't wait to have an antagonistic relationship with the editor. I'm going to say stuff like cut that and they leave it in. That's the kind of work ethic that I'm really looking forward to embracing in this project. You force me to listen to your bullshit like day, I will make sure that the entire world has to hear it. I will not suffer this alone. God, J-Wiz is already taking a huge amount of damage. I mean, I wouldn't have gone up to challenge that at low HP. And not only that, I wouldn't have shot the deflect either, but hey, who am I to tell you what to do? It's a free country. Oh, new turret spot as well. Oh, the Cheeto of time. Show me. How did this happen? Do they just blink in? They come from spawn? Where was my tracer? Oh, no, they're coming in from the back. I see. Blinks through into safety. Alleged safety. Then goes back in and I guess just eats shit. Yes. Yes, they do. Wow, what a shot. I'm looking forward to another big blade here from D's. Oh, has locked onto it. Oh, I love the turret here. This is a great turret. Okay, that's what we call a bit of a feed. Admittedly, you have created this grotesque chunk of flesh out of Crimson and DPRX, which is going to go to the low ground. But you did die for it, so you are Dr. Frankenstein right now. You've paid the price for your experiments against man. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, nice. Oh, never mind. I thought they knew. I could not have been more wrong. Oh, wait. Did they get booped? They get booped by DB. Okay, this is quite... Vasily has returned. DB gets a boop on Adam midway through the channel of the Blizzard, so they don't get it where they want. I guess they wanted it on to, like, close to Invicta. And they get booped here, so it just hits the cart instead. It just gets stuck in the wheel. Oh. Wow, DB, what a hero. What a hero. Then just swaps over to speed and gets TF out of there.
It's go time.
Here we go. Right. Overclock. Oh, this is a very aggressive angle. Some would say remarkably silly. Why have you done this, Robbie? Oh, that's a nice time, mate. Oh. Any 4 a.m.ers? Where is this guy going? I mean, I guess you were just trying to get Bob out before you die. But unfortunately, bro is going to eat shit right now. 300 damage per May headshot. This is what some of us would call a risk. So, place your bets. Are we going in the drink? No, we got a bit too scared. And you know what? We didn't kill ourselves, but we didn't hit anyone either. So it's a net neutral.
Time for the reckoning.
Well, everything could go right again with some double damage rails. That's what we call problem solving right there. Just add more damage to it. D's just hopping right out of there might not be the ideal. Okay, Robbie. It's... Oh, no. That's... sadness. Becomes the saddest little corpse in the...
Welcome back, everybody, from our halftime here in this matchup between AFMT and Meow in the quarterfinals of the mid-season tournament here in the Console EU Open tier. And things, unfortunately, not looking so good for Meow. AFMT already up to that 2-0 lead after a really quick victory over on Busan. And what seemed like a little bit of a back and forth initially on Nubani. Unfortunately, momentum just not swinging their way. And now, to end Salty, this is the biggest mountain you could potentially climb up now with the way things are going.
Yeah, you are a team that you even said do not like playing Rush. You know the opposition likes playing Rush, and you have to go to Flashpoint for map 3, which is basically Rush heaven. No matter what meta you are in, it'll be New Junk City. So maybe catching them off guard. A lot of teams are picking Saravasa. They've been picking Saravasa over the last few months, just because for whatever reason teams are liking to run it just that little bit more. But they will go over to New Junk City. And we do actually have changes for both sides, both actually in the support lineup, as it will be from Meow, Calamity coming in for the first time in the series, and Celestia popping back in from Meow.
Yeah, I'm interested in what they want to try to run here now. I would take the imagination that they might be forcing themselves to run some level of Rush. There is the chance that it's, maybe you try to throw back in the Junker Queen, maybe you try it with the Diva instead. I just imagine they're going to try to match that Rush style at this point. I think they realize that their own style isn't quite working, so I imagine this is what this big swap up is for. It's just a complete change to the support line. It should change the complete pace of how they're trying to run, and they're all right. FMT making their own swap, which does surprise me for a moment, but you do see Vobeno coming in on the support. Not too shocking, all things considered, at least at the level that we've seen them play in past tournaments. But I'm curious what these switches for. Is it because there's a legitimate, comp they want to run that only Vobeno can really help out with? Or as we have seen in the past, just giving a support player playtime?
I'm leaning towards the second, and it maybe just be like, hey, we feel confident enough about how this series is going, especially going into this map type. Throw in Vobendo to see what he can do. I think that was the general vibe that I'm getting from this. Maybe it is, though, something they're cooking up on New Junk City. Maybe this new look on the Rush. But like you said, it's a very tall mountain to climb. It is Mount Everest for Meow to climb to win this series at this point, considering map advantage would be in favor of AFMT the rest of the way, and they have to beat them on a notorious Rush map. But I do have a slight bit of hope. Maybe this change, putting Celestia back in, as well as putting Calamity in for the first time, maybe just, going to a different hand, trying to show something else can be favorable for Meow. It will be Calamity on the Lucio, and you were right. They will just try and go the Rush themselves with the Ram.
I like it quite a bit. I think this was, I won't say the only correct choice, because you could keep trying to run your thing, but it's clear it's not working, so why not just run your own Rush and send it down? I like Fat Dad going over to the Sojourn as well. AFMT, though, we're coming down to these seconds. I know they gotta be messing with the casters, right? They gotta be messing with this. There's no way they keep this exact composition. Salty, they are keeping this composition for the most part.
Wow, what? Cassidy, Lifeweaver as well.
What?
They're cooking something, Hunter. I'm not sure if it's a disaster or a masterclass yet, but they're cooking something.
Man, the coach must have saw the 2-0 and said, you know what? Let's try this thing. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. But AFMT gonna play this a little awkwardly because you don't have the Lucio to help out with those rotations. The energy already gonna be taken down. But that's a really good trade out, all things considered. So it might be down to Fat Dad to put in some work here. Gonna be able to slide out and stay alive. Has that rail shot ready to go. Needs to find a good shot either onto Akaza or potentially Barbendo if they find them out. Looking for it. Only gonna be the body shot. Akaza is getting low though, so that's gonna be a cleanup there as AFMT still going to manage to get that point first and foremost, as this fight is still been going on for a long while, but realistically, this should be Meow's to win. Just, it feels like they're not all on the same target right now, but finally it looks like they are, as this fight having a bit of a long way from point.
Yeah, definitely a little bit farther away from point as they were maybe intending it to be, and they also have Foes throwing the Pulse Bomb late on, but it will be at least a fight win for them in the end. AFMT will now change it up a little bit. Ricky will go off of the Life Weaver and go over to the Lucio. Maybe NRG will also swap, but I don't mind it as much to try and deal with Foes, but that is...
Oh, no.
Slayer may be regretting not going back to the Diva very quickly here, as that will be a giant issue. Even when they're trying to just guard up in Nemesis form, it can be so hard to go against a Bastion like this.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to peel it out. That's unfortunately the only option. Slayer literally got booped into the room, and Slayer is history. And now Energy getting a lot of pressure, but has Celestia, or not Celestia, Bendo right at their side. And we'll see that cap come through. But though, I will say 76, 77% for Meow. That puts them in that one-fight territory. They're going to have the overclock as well as that Coalescence. This is a winnable fight for them. They just have to peel out this Bastion right and go in with that aggression the moment they see the opportunity to.
They definitely have the win condition and Foes dying. You just got to reset here, I think. Well, they may not be given the option, actually.
Yeah, why not go for that pressure? They already have literally everybody is low, and I imagine the cleanup is coming their way. It is just Slayer alive. Gonna take Ricky for their troubles, but unfortunately that pretty much means nobody can get to that point. Foes did die a little while ago, so it's possible, but I don't think there's any real reason to force it at this point. Realistically speaking.
Yeah, I don't think it'll change the outcome of this flashpoint. It may force AFMT to an awkward spot as Energy's behind.
Yeah, Foes is already deleted on the point. Akaza invest, and this is just a cleanup. Akaza with a 3K to their name. First point gonna be taken. AFMT 2 more to go. They invest quite a bit there, so Meow, this is literally going to be their best shot to be able to win a fight and potentially win a point. 4 ultimates, all of them extremely valuable in their own right. They just gotta use them correctly, and dying, unfortunately, results in you not being able to use your ultimates.
Yeah, especially some area that you need as an emergency button just in case. Hey, we need to make sure we win this fight. We're getting a little bit lower than we would like. As NRG is just sitting up on this high ground. I don't know if Meow will see them up there.
I mean, they have the ult any second.
Yeah.
I imagine. Yeah. But
And
here we go with the Coalescence. Nobody on point, but Celestia going with that investment. They're all hunkered together. Not going to get anybody as the beat's going to come out from Ricky first and foremost. Calamity has it, but got low, so held on to it for the time being. Matt just trying to find something, and eventually they're going to this fight. Very likely going to go the way of Meow, just hoping to find those last couple of cleanups, but I do need to get this point capped, start racking up as much percentage as humanly possible as Foes uses the Pulse Bomb, so everything's gone now. Those 4 ults that we had at the beginning of the fight, they are gone, and that is saying something about the discipline and ult is... come on now. We can't be having this happen here. Twin Salty, they can't be doing this.
Wow. And they almost hit the first shot. But it's already a 4v5 for AFMT going into this, and Meow have just, they've backed up. They know they don't have the manpower going into this fight, and they will just try and fight for a position of high ground.
That is absolutely insane for Energy to get that shot off, and now we'll see that reset come through once again, hoping to find another shot, but I would not be peeking right now. Slayer, you can't be doing that!
Yeah, I think they counted their blessings twice. They were maybe, what, 20 health when they got back to the left side of that choke point? Meow got to be really careful on how they engage when they only have 1 ult to work with.
You've seen the important one there, but Slayer is going to catch a couple of people. Dinks actually specifically getting hit. Not going to have a cleanse ready for them. Eventually going to be taken down with Bendo not too far behind. Very winnable again for Meow. And we're going to see that little bit of stall come through with who's remaining, but it's really just Energy and Ricky. And we're going to see that fast cleanup come through. So capping 66% for AFMT. Meow, if they win this next fight, they should be able to cap this point, but they're only going to have that pulse, maybe that coalescence, and with the way Energy's been playing and gonna have this, gonna be able to see where everybody's at, this might be a really difficult fight for them.
It can be quite dangerous, and there it is. Inversight is used, and they can see, okay, Tracer has to back up already, and they know where everybody is in that back corner.
Yep, also going to come online. That's going to be a nice trade, all things considered, but Fat Dad going to be hit. Going to be taken out in combination with Ricky there, ready to go. The cap likely just going to come through here. You might as well just go for that stall. Try to die on that point and have it quick as a reset as possible. But there's the investment. Foes fighting two of their own. Vobendo on the point. Have using that fate to try to get out. They're going to get off for a moment. Remember, we're at 98%. They're going to have to invest here in a moment as that cap comes through. And they're going to push up ahead, try to stop anybody from touching this point. Vobendo thought about it, but unfortunately they're going to back up 1-1 now. Meow takes that one. They use a lot to do so. But dang, is it worth it to get a point up on our AFMT.
They needed that desperately to get that 1 point. You're like, hey, the Widow is not getting the value that AFMT are really needing right now, and Meow taking advantage, and they're gonna keep trying to push the advantage here. Whoa, that is a choice.
That is a choice. But you know what? At the end of the day, Dinks is still finding kills somehow, some way. And still NRG is in there, but Slayer eventually going to get rid of them. Again, perhaps the situation of AFMT playing with their food a little too much. They're going to be taking some late deaths. Dinks is super low and not going to get the support they need. But still, Dinks is taking people down with them as they die. And AFMT is going to get this first cap with ease.
Yeah, Spawn is right there, and Meow is taking so long to get over, and now the Genji online for NRG. Dinks goes over to the Winston as well. I don't mind that here for Dinks. And I think it may force Meow to go back to a dive to a false sense of security.
Yep, and here comes Akaza ready to go, looking, firing away. That's a nice beat to be able to keep Fat Dad up. They come in deep. They are going to be taken out anyway, but still a nice one as the Pulse is going to come alive. Not going to fight anybody, but is going to get rid of a lot of that overhealth that was remaining from the beat. So now 4v4 back on the point. Really just need to come together on a target, and unfortunately for Dinks, they the reception of such a thing. But this fight is still mega scrappy, but AFMT is already sitting at 60%. Regardless of the result, they have gotten exactly what they were looking for, and with Ricky being able to take out Celestia, this might unfortunately be over just like that with just the one fight. We're to see the regroup potentially, but I think Meow, they just have to give up on this point. At this point, you just have to back up and play for the next one.
But you don't, yeah, at this point, you don't have a lot of time to play it. You just got to give it up. And as much as you don't want to, Foes maybe getting in position to try and at least stall this out, but they will not. They'll fall under. Set and third point goes to AFMT, and Foes will pay their life for it. And they keep the Rampage, which is going to be very important potentially if they live here, which at this point they will.
Yeah, that's 3 people caught over on the side. Vobendo fades out of it, though. This could go really either way. A lot of people low from AFMT. We see that trade coming through there. You want to stop the trades, though. Meow needs to be able to finish up Dinks here, who's super low. The knife is just going to barely miss. Dinks needs to die, and Foes is ready to cut them off. So Meow, excellent position to be able to cap this point first and foremost. You got to be careful, though, because if you overinvest a little too much, Slayer could potentially get caught out again.
Yeah, that's the thing you cannot afford right now. Slayer cannot get caught out. Meow will cap first, and that's exactly what AFMT did last time, but they do get caught out on the rotation back. Turns into a 5v3, and Meow, they have to give it the point right back.
Yep, unfortunate scenario. Calamity getting that kind of late as well. Foe's going to try to get out. It's getting chased down by Akaza, and the rest of the gang is coming along as well, and they were just there to their spawn. Unfortunate for them. As Fat Dad going over to... Ooh, I like the Cassidy, and it's... Hey, it's going to shut down energy a little bit better, so... I mean, at the point we're at, you might as well.
No, yeah, you have to at this point. It's like, gotta throw something else out there, especially with the Winston now. Even if you are just using the right click to try and break the Winston bubble every single time, it is worthy value, and they barely just are able to get out with shouts.
Yeah, barely is that important right there. The Fate going to be used to be able to keep Celestia alive. And here comes in the backline, hoping to catch on to Celestia, who's literally 1 health as they're trying to bat them to the outside, but Dink's not going to be able to follow through with that. The double investment coming through is energy going to bring out the Pulse Bomb, getting rid of Fat Dad. Still a winnable scenario for AFMT, who are trying to bring this one back into 3v3 now with Slayer going down. Meow, they might just have to invest with Celestia here in a moment, who has that, but they're going to die without using that Coalescence. Foes has already won, Calamity going down, and now Hope has faded from AFMT, or from Meow, as AFMT are going to win this one 3-0 overall. AFMT, they played around here and there, but they showed that they are in this midseason tournament for a reason.
They are the #1 seed from Group 1 for a reason, and they showed it there. I will give credit to Meow. They showed a little bit of fight in that map that we did not expect, but it was a very scrappy map, to say the least. The Slayer gets the play. But sadly, not much more than that. And maybe you're hoping that Melee would have hit, but AFMT, they show like, hey, it was maybe not our best game today, and I'm pretty sure they would admit that as well. But still a decent showing. You get the job done 3-0, and now you wait at a potential like finale level game in the semifinal.
Yeah, that's kind of the realm that we're entering right now. Obviously, we do kind of have to wait and see what that result is going to be, but still, it's a pretty good performance for them overall here as we kind of, I don't know. It's an unfortunate scenario for Meow, but we talked about it at the beginning of this thing. You kind of go into this expecting what the result is probably going to be. So now you've learned a lot from this. You have to learn from it. So now you take this time with the mid-season tournament for them being done. You take these extra couple of weeks to train up, learn, because you still have a really good chance to make it into that tournament once we get to the end of the season itself. You just got that time to train. You got the experience against what it has been shown thus far to seem like the best of the best. So you take that experience, you run with it, you come back next time, hopefully, with some more fire under you.
Yeah, I do think their chances are pretty decent to make it into the end of season playoff. For them, it's just, hey, the small little communication issues. Like, especially on Busan, we saw it. There's a little bit of miscommunications on rotations and target prioritization. They are right there. Especially Dive is very good right now. They are seriously right there to be able to kind of beat these top teams like AFMT and MME. So I'm curious to see how they progress in the second half of AFMT. Again, not the cleanest game by any means from them, but you got the job done, and now you prepare for the big boys whenever the semifinal is to be played. I'm very excited for it. It should be an excellent match.
It 100% should. Of course, we'll kind of try to get that updated at some point, but you can always check the you can always check everything online from standings to how the midseason is going for everybody in every single division. But of course, speaking of those other divisions, remember that we do have a ton of more games happening throughout this entire week. We are constantly trying to get games out for the entire midseason tournament because it is a lot of fun. But as for us right here at Twin Salty, that is just for, at least for the EU for today. We are done so, but it's been a fantastic time, and it has been a pleasure casting alongside you for the first time, as a matter of fact. But of course, we do have to thank the people that are helping us in the backstage, because obviously none of this is possible without them. Always have to give our thanks. Of course, we got Hippie on the production. We got Orange. We've got Mira and BBBB helping us out here today. So thank you to all of them for putting on a fantastic performance as usual. So thank you guys very much for watching here today. Make sure to stay around later today as we hopefully have a game coming your way later. But if not, there's always Friday Night Overwatch, which is always a ton of fun. But thank you all very much for joining us, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Be trying to knock me.